closer in time.
Modern fad diets. Dandy poet pop icon of his day, Lord Byron, known for his brooding charm and self-destructive tendencies, was obsessed with his figure. Aware of his tendency toward weight gain and terrified of appearing anything more than skeletal, Byron devised a regimen that combined extreme caloric restriction with a liberal consumption of vinegar. The result? Pale skin, dizziness, and what some contemporaries described as a perpetually unwell appearance. Byron's celebrity status influenced thousands to adopt his ascetic habits, setting into motion the diet craze. From his time to ours, the social pressure to conform to unattainable body ideals has only intensified. Part cookbook, part treatise, and part witty meditation blending humor and insight, Jean-Antoine Billat-Savarin's landmark work, The Physiology of Taste, explores the science, culture, and sensual pleasures of eating. Billat-Savarin's musings, championing ideas about mindfulness in eating and the cultural significance of cuisine long before such topics were fashionable, has influenced chefs, writers, and food lovers for generations. Billat-Savarin's famous aphorism, "Dis-moi ce que tu manges, je te dirai ce que tu es," literally translated as "tell me what you eat, I'll tell you what you are," has given rise to the nowadays very familiar aphoristic compression, "You are what you eat." Presbyterian minister turned dietary reformer, sometimes called the father of vegetarianism, Sylvester Graham introduced a high-fiber diet aimed at improving physical health and, somewhat bizarrely, moral character. Best remembered as the namesake of the graham cracker, his approach to nutrition was part of a broader movement to combat the perceived degeneracy of the era. Graham championed a diet of coarse, unprocessed grains, vegetables, and water, believing that the rise of industrialized food, rich in refined flour, sugar, and meat, led to physical and spiritual degradation. Despite his moralistic zeal and frequent ridicule, his emphasis on fiber-rich foods foreshadowed modern nutrition science. Ironically, today's sugary graham crackers are far removed from the austere dietary principles he preached, symbolizing the triumph of indulgence over asceticism. Struggling with obesity and numerous health issues, English undertaker William Banting adopted a regimen recommended by his physician, eliminating sugar, starch, and beer in favor of meat, fish, and dry wine. His subsequent publication of his Letter on Corpulence, a pamphlet detailing his dramatic success with his low-carb diet, would make the undertaker an unlikely sensation, selling thousands of copies and sparking a diet movement that would go on to be known as Bantingism. While critics derided the diet as extreme, Banting's demonstrable results, clear practical writing, and personal testimony made it accessible and influential. Though Banting's low-carb diet prefigures modern trends like Atkins and keto, its cultural impact was perhaps greater. For the first time, a systematic diet for weight loss became part of public discourse, linking food choices to health outcomes in a way that still shapes how we think about nutrition today. Working before the discovery of insulin, Italian physician Arnaldo Cantani became a trailblazer in diabetes treatment by prescribing an exclusive animal-based meat, fish, eggs, and fats diet. Cantani believed that eliminating all carbohydrates would stabilize glucose levels and improve symptoms. His diet, though rigid, offered some success as it minimized carbohydrate intake, reducing blood sugar spikes diabetic patients could not otherwise regulate. Some 1 century later, Cantani's diet would be resurrected as the carnivore diet. Physician and public health advocate Lulu Hunt Peters popularized her previously introduced concept of calorie counting to the public with the publication of her groundbreaking book, Diet and Health, with Key to the Calories. This bestseller revolutionized how people approached food, weight management, and dieting. Peters popularized the idea of treating food in terms of measurable energy units, calories, simplifying the complexity of nutrition for a wider audience. She urged people to pay for their food choices with these units, much like currency, and linked calorie control to personal discipline. Her work also marked a pivotal shift in diet culture. Body weight was increasingly framed as a moral and social issue, with slenderness equated to virtue and self-control. Eccentric health reformer, nutritionist, and inventor of cornflakes, John Harvey Kellogg became famous, and infamous as well, for his unconventional dietary prescriptions. Among these were the all-grape diet and the promotion of Bulgarian yogurt as health remedies. While Kellogg's grape diet faded into obscurity, his promotion of fermented foods and gut health has had a lasting influence, anticipating today's probiotics industry. His practices were undeniably extreme, but they also helped popularize the broader idea of preventative health through diet. And of course, everyone's favorite, the cigarette diet. In one of the strangest chapters of 20th century diet culture, the cigarette diet emerged in the post-World War I years as a wildly popular, albeit dangerously misguided, weight loss strategy. The idea was simple. Smoking cigarettes could suppress appetite, helping people eat less and presumably lose weight. What makes this phenomenon particularly shocking is that it wasn't an underground trend. It was actively marketed by cigarette companies with the backing of some of the most sophisticated advertising campaigns of the era. In the early years of the Great Depression, the grapefruit diet, also known as the Hollywood diet or the 18-day diet, emerged as a prominent weight loss fad in the United States. This regimen involved consuming grapefruit at each meal, accompanied by foods rich in fats and proteins, such as meat and eggs, while avoiding sugars, certain fruits, and starchy vegetables. The diet was based on the unsubstantiated claim that grapefruit contains a special enzyme that promotes fat burning. The origins of the grapefruit diet are somewhat murky. Some sources link it to Hollywood circles, which led to its nickname. One rumor attributes the diet's creation to actress Ethel Barrymore, who allegedly commissioned a special diet plan from the Mayo brothers. However, the Mayo Clinic has disavowed any association with this diet. The grapefruit diet experienced resurgences in popularity over the decades, notably in the 1980s when it was rebranded as the 10-day, 10 pounds off diet. A couple years after the newly popular grapefruit diet, the United Fruit Company, a dominant force in the banana trade, introduced the bananas and skimmed milk diet. This diet prescribed consuming only bananas and skimmed milk for a set period, typically several days, with promises of rapid weight loss. The United Fruit Company's promotion of this diet was a calculated effort to increase banana sales during a time when the fruit was becoming more widely available in the United States. While the diet did lead to short-term weight loss due to its low-calorie nature, it lacked essential nutrients and was not sustainable or healthy in the long term. Despite this, the bananas and skimmed milk diet remains a notable example of early 20th century diet fads and the influence of corporate marketing on public eating habits. The cabbage soup diet emerged as a notable fad diet a few years after World War II, promoting rapid weight loss through the consumption of a low-calorie cabbage-based soup over a 7-day period. The origins of this diet are somewhat obscure, with some sources suggesting it may have been falsely attributed to various institutions, including the Sacred Heart Hospital and the Mayo Clinic, both of which have denied any association. The diet resurfaced some 3 decades later, gaining renewed attention under various names such as the Dolly Parton diet and the military cabbage soup diet. Its resurgence may have been facilitated by the ease of information dissemination through fax machines and early internet platforms, leading to widespread popularity despite the lack of scientific backing. Rooted in ancient Eastern philosophies and emphasizing balance and simplicity in eating habits, the macrobiotic diet, basically meaning from Greek the extended life diet, gained international attention when Michio Kushi and wife Aveline, disciples of George Osawa, introduced macrobiotic principles to the United States. Kushi established the East-West Journal, the East-West Foundation, and the Kushi Institute, promoting macrobiotics as a holistic lifestyle that encompassed diet, spirituality, and environmental consciousness. The movement attracted a following among those seeking alternative health practices and was associated with some of the counterculture of the time. Over time, the macrobiotic diet evolved, emphasizing whole grains, vegetables, and legumes with occasional inclusion of fish and fermented foods. This modern interpretation focuses on flexibility and individual needs, moving away from the rigid structures initially proposed by Osawa, particularly in his strictest dietary stages. The core principle of the Atkins diet, introduced by cardiologist Robert C. Atkins with the publication of Dr. Atkins' Diet Revolution, centers on restricting carbohydrates to shift the body's metabolism from burning glucose to burning stored fat, a state known as ketosis. This approach was revolutionary at the time as it contradicted the low-fat, high-carbohydrate dietary recommendations that dominated the era. Following its initial release, the Atkins diet experienced several waves of popularity. A revised edition, Dr. Atkins' New Diet Revolution, was published 20 years later. The early 2000s saw a significant resurgence with millions adopting the low-carb lifestyle. At its zenith, approximately 1 in 11 North American adults reported following a low-carb diet like Atkins. Despite criticism from some health professionals over its potential health risks, this surge in popularity influenced the food industry, leading to the introduction of numerous low-carb products and a noticeable decline in sales of carbohydrate-rich foods such as pasta and bread. The F-Plan Diet, introduced by British author and journalist Audrey Eyton with the publication of her book by the same name, emphasized the consumption of foods rich in dietary fibers such as whole grains, fruits, and vegetables while reducing intake of fats and refined sugars. The diet aimed to promote weight loss by increasing satiety and reducing overall calorie consumption. The F-Plan Diet quickly gained international acclaim, the book selling over 3 million copies within its first 3 years and being translated into 16 languages. Its popularity led to a significant increase in the consumption of high-fiber foods during the 1980s. Despite its success, the F-Plan diet faced criticism for its extreme emphasis on fiber, which some health professionals argued could lead to gastrointestinal discomfort and potential nutrient deficiencies if not properly balanced. Nevertheless, the diet played a pivotal role in highlighting the importance of dietary fiber in weight management and overall health. Cardiologist Arthur Agatston introduced the world to the South Beach diet with the publication of his book by the same name. This eating plan emphasizes the consumption of lean proteins, healthy fats, and low glycemic index carbohydrates, aiming to promote weight loss and improve heart health. Dr. Agatston developed the diet about a decade prior to the book while working with dietitian Marie Ullman at Mount Sinai Medical Center in Miami Beach, Florida. Initially called the Modified Carbohydrate Diet, it was later renamed after the South Beach neighborhood near Agatston's practice. The South Beach diet gained widespread popularity following the publication of Agatston's book, leading to millions of copies sold and a significant impact on dietary practices. Its focus on distinguishing between good and bad carbohydrates and fats influenced subsequent nutritional guidelines and popular diets. In 2019, a keto-friendly version of the diet was introduced, reflecting the growing interest in ketogenic eating patterns. The FDA approves Zepbound as a weight loss drug. Whatever you do, don't miss the next exhilarating installment of Closer in Time.